It is even the fake Republicans. I saw this headline. I have got to get your reaction to it. This is from Michael Steele. Michael Steele was the head of the Republican National Committee. Now he's a talking head on MSNBC, and he only ever goes on the liberal shows and attacks Republicans. He said, this is directed at you, Senator, just sit the hell down, please. Stop it. This in response to your speech at CPAC says it is more fascism than farce. It is more concern than conservatism, and it really is about how we as a citizen respond to this, how we push back against it, blah, blah, blah. Cruz is the worst. Any response?
I will say that's a badge of honor. I'm glad to hear it. Look, I'd say it's three things simultaneously. One, there's a whole cadre of squishy, moderate establishment Republicans who barely believed anything to begin with. And they were a real problem in our party for a long time. They gave rise to my election. They gave rise to the rise of Donald Trump. It was a reaction to these folks who didn't believe anything. Secondly, that many of those same folks are now fully consumed by TDS, by Trump Derangement Syndrome. They just hate Donald Trump so much that they're consumed by it. You mentioned Liz Cheney. Liz Cheney is unrecognizable from who she was, 5-6 years ago. Bill Kristol used to be Dan Quayle's chief of staff. Yeah. He ran the Weekly Standard, which was a conservative publication. He now is indistinguishable from a raving left-wing Democrat.
It's also worth remembering Bill Kristol discovered Sarah Palin. I know that now Bill and other people on the kind of squishy side or just outright now have switched to the left. They try to say Palin's the problem, Cruz, Trump, all these right-wingers in the conservative movement. Bill Kristol discovered that lady and made her a national thing.
Well, and what's funny, it's not just the folks that are destroyed by TDS. It's not just that they don't like what Trump says or does. It's not just that they say, well, we need to speak with greater decorum. You can make that case. They become left-wingers on everything. They look at Build Back Broke and say, woohoo, raise taxes, spend money, more debt. I mean, their rhetoric is indistinguishable from Chuck Schumer's. I mean, they literally have just flipped over. And then the third dynamic is Steele, who I don't know the guy, but, apparently makes a living now going on MSNBC. And there's a whole little cottage industry of quote, former Republicans who get paid to go on TV, and their job description is simple. You have to do two things. Number one, you have to at some time have called yourself a Republican. And he helps because he was actually head of the RNC, so he's got a good sort of fake costume there.
Yeah.
But then two, you have to be willing to piss on Republicans all day long. Like, they have no interest in reasoned analysis. They have no interest in your actually considering substance. Your job is, I am former Republican who says Republicans all suck. That's what I get paid to do on MSNBC, and it's how I get my measly little paycheck to pay the second mortgage on my condo in Old Town, Virginia. That is a phenomenon, and it's an unfortunate and silly one. And by the way, what he was reacting to was my speech at CPAC, the central thesis of which is revival is coming, that this administration has gone so extreme, people's eyes are opening up, and they want to take the country back in the direction of free enterprise and freedom and defending the Constitution and Bill of Rights. And what is his response to that? Sit the hell down and shut up. Okay, boomer. Thanks for your input. You screwed it up. Now's time for actually people who believe something to lead.
Well, that is the key. You'll sometimes hear this. I always hear this with ex-Catholics, or I don't even know if you'd say ex-Catholic, but you'll sometimes hear people say, whenever pontificating on some matter of the church, they'll say, listen, I went to Catholic school, and let me tell you, and you can be certain every time someone says that, they don't know anything about the Catholic Church. And I think it's almost the perfect analogy for it. They'll say, listen, as a former Republican, and then they go on and they misrepresent Republicans' views. They frequently can't articulate them at all. And because I think in 99 times out of 100, they never really believed that stuff to begin with. They never really knew what they were supposed to believe to begin with. And so it was a natural evolution for them to move over to the other side. I see that with virtually all of these so-called former Republicans. They're just kind of squishes who opportunistically were in the GOP while it served them. But because they didn't really believe very much on life, on liberty, on the American way of life, that they just switched when the going got tough. And so when they leave the party, I say, good, sayonara, glad, don't let the door hit you on the way out.